Welcome to a battlefield of minds. Two grandmasters face off where every move cuts like a sword. One mistake, and it's over. This isn't just chess. It's war disguised as strategy. Let's dive in, move by move, into this epic clash. Wesley So launches NF3, a flexible night jump signaling cautious exploration, before unleashing deeper tactical intentions across the early battlefield. Grigory Kaidanov answers with DF5, seizing central territory boldly, planting a firm foothold to contest Wesley's developing influence. Wesley pushes G3, preparing his bishop's fianchetto like sharpening a long-range spear aimed toward Grigory's central defenses. Grigory advances C5, striking the center aggressively, testing Wesley's structure with energetic pressure like an opening skirmish. Wesley's bishop lands on G2, sliding into its diagonal fortress, eyeing the board with quiet but dangerous long-term ambition. Grigory develops N6, tightening his grip in the center, bolstering tension as both sides prepare for the first real clash. Wesley pushes D4, meeting force with force, challenging Grigory's ambition and expanding the central conflict into open battle. Grigory replies NF6, reinforcing his forward stance, bringing another warrior into the fray as tension thickens between both armies. Wesley castles quickly, securing his king behind safety walls, while preparing to unleash coordinated strikes from the wings. Grigory sets E6, building a sturdy defensive shell and preparing the dark-squared bishop for later counterattacks across the center. Wesley pushes C4, escalating the central confrontation sharply as he attempts to fracture Grigory's pawn structure with precision. Grigory captures dxec4, snatching material and momentarily disrupting Wesley's formation, forcing immediate decisions in the unfolding battlefield. Wesley plays dxexi5, restoring balance while cracking open lines, inviting complications that challenge Grigory's control of the center. Grigory trades queens with qs-stone, dragging Wesley into an early queenless middle game where accuracy and activity decide survival. Wesley recaptures rx-a-done, activating the rook early, and planting pressure along the open file like a sudden spotlight on Black's camp item. Grigory develops bx5-5, reclaiming harmony in his structure while targeting key diagonals, eager to stabilize yet maintain active footing. Wesley's knight jumps NBD2, weaving coordination among pieces, preparing pressure while eyeing central and queenside breakthrough opportunities. Grigory pushes Key3, driving the pawn deep like a spear thrust, disrupting Wesley's balance and demanding careful recalibration. Wesley answers with bxe3, eliminating the intruder decisively while gaining structural foothold for future central counterplay. Grigory castles finally sheltering his king and preparing to mobilize rooks for stronger influence across open lanes. Wesley's knight leaps NB3, eyeing strong outposts and challenging Grigory's bishop with growing pressure on dark square weaknesses. Grigory plays B7, retreating calmly while regrouping strategic intentions, preparing for coordinated defenses and sharp countermeasures. Wesley pushes C4, consolidating his center dramatically, while widening the battlefield, signaling readiness for a long structural grind. Grigory responds BD7, strengthening his defensive network and preparing his rooks for harmonious alignment against Wesley's expanding initiative. Wesley places BB2, activating the bishop into a deadly diagonal where it eyes black's center like a poised sniper. Gregory connects rooks with FD8, heightening central tension and preparing to contest every open file with disciplined precision. Wesley advances NFD4, launching his knight with purpose, threatening entry points that could destabilize Gregory's defensive harmony. Gregory counters Race8, lifting his rook aggressively, ready to challenge Wesley's pressure and ignite tactical confrontations across c-file lines. Wesley's knight storms NB5, stepping into enemy territory boldly, threatening tactical forks, and forcing Gregory into uneasy calculations. Gregory answers B8, reorganizing quietly, while preparing a sturdier formation, absorbing pressure without losing long-term dynamic chances. Wesley drives C5 forward, ripping the structure open and challenging Gregory to respond under mounting positional stress. Gregory's knight hits ND5, leaping into central command like a fearless captain, countering Wesley's expanding aggression with authority. Wesley advances in Zeeks, planting the knight deep into hostile territory, creating chaos and targeting critical weaknesses around black's camp. Gregory trades with BSC6, removing the invasive knight decisively, trying to slow Wesley's rolling momentum before it snowballs dangerously. Wesley recaptures with CHC-D6, rebuilding threats immediately, opening lines and intensifying pressure directly on Gregory's defensive core. Gregory plays N8, retreating reluctantly to reset his knight, seeking new defensive routes under Wesley's relentless space advantage. Wesley activates Raccoon, stacking forces on the c-file, preparing a heavy assault that threatens to collapse Gregory's queenside resistance. Gregory develops B4, opening counterplay hopes on critical diagonals, aiming to disrupt Wesley's plans with tactical interference. Wesley captures BXT5, sweeping aside resistance and tearing open the center, surging momentum as Gregory fights to stay coordinated. Gregory responds with X5, rebuilding structure while bracing for incoming threats, absorbing Wesley's pressure with gritted, determined defense. Wesley plays RC7, flooding the 7th rank with pressure as his rook pierces deep, forcing Gregory into desperate, uncomfortable defensive calculations. Gregory counters N6, dragging the knight toward a distant refuge, trying to rearrange pieces before Wesley's initiative tears everything apart. Wesley captures RX8, eliminating a key defender and tightening his grip, pushing the position toward a suffocating, nearly decisive advantage. Gregory replies RX8, restoring material balance, but losing crucial momentum, struggling to contain Wesley's growing pressure across multiple fronts. Wesley strikes RxD5, grabbing the central pawn with conviction, transforming the board and pushing Gregory further into defensive turmoil. Gregory answers F6, creating breathing space while trying to challenge central lines, though his position still trembles under Wesley's pressure. Wesley plays RD4, swinging his rook purposefully to dominate open lanes, preparing to squeeze black's camp with tightening strategic force. Gregory responds BD7, regrouping desperately, attempting to shield critical weaknesses before Wesley's pieces coordinate for a decisive breakthrough. Wesley pushes F3, reinforcing central control, preparing king's safety, and signaling a patient but unstoppable tightening of strategic dominance. Gregory activates kf7, marching his king toward the center, seeking counterplay while navigating a dangerous landscape shaped by Wesley's pressure. Wesley places re4, redirecting pressure with surgical precision, threatening infiltration as Gregory scrambles to maintain a coherent defense. Gregory replies re8, challenging Wesley's rook and attempting to reclaim some order amid the increasingly chaotic central battleground. Wesley trades rx8, simplifying into a superior endgame where his activity and structure promise growing, possibly decisive advantages. Gregory recaptures kx8, stepping further into the center, but exposing himself to Wesley's rapidly mobilizing, coordinated attacking forces. Wesley jumps in 4, unleashing a powerful central knight that threatens forks, infiltrations, and mounting pressure against Gregory's weakened formation. Gregory answers nc5, repositioning defensively, trying to block critical routes as Wesley's pieces steadily tighten their encircling grip. Wesley brings kf2, activating his king early, preparing decisive endgame domination as he steps confidently into the battlefield's heart. Gregory counters n6, seeking stability and coordination while attempting to deny Wesley's knight dangerous entry squares around the center. Wesley advances nb3, shifting the knight toward aggressive posts, pressuring Gregory's queenside and reopening possibilities for tactical disruption. Gregory positions bb5, setting up a barrier while probing for counterplay, though Wesley's centralized power continues dictating the struggle. Wesley pushes e4, expanding with authority, securing central dominance and opening lines that threaten to dismantle Gregory's fragile defenses. Gregory replies kd7, guiding his king deeper into the fray, desperately seeking activity, as Wesley's grip grows vise-like. Wesley develops ba3, targeting sensitive points and tightening diagonal pressure, forcing Gregory to confront increasingly difficult defensive challenges. Gregory answers bc4, offering resistance along key diagonals, trying to counter Wesley's centralized pieces despite worsening structural weaknesses. Wesley steps key3, boldly centralizing his king, reinforcing key squares, and preparing to convert positional superiority into direct winning chances. Gregory pushes b6, gaining space and attempting to create counterplay, though Wesley's active king looms dangerously close. Wesley plays fowler, strengthening the center further, preparing tactical possibilities and signaling an unstoppable advance toward final domination. Gregory responds a5, pushing on the queen side for counterplay, though his efforts struggle against Wesley's overwhelmingly active forces. Wesley drives a5, striking with ambition, ripping at black structure, and forcing Gregory into a difficult, reactive defensive stance. Gregory answers f5, capturing the pawn but cracking open lines, giving Wesley new avenues to pressure Black's increasingly exposed king. Wesley strikes with f5, recapturing in the center and tearing open Gregory's pawn shield, dragging the position into raw tactical chaos. Gregory answers g6, reinforcing dark squares while bracing for impact, though the king side now shakes under Wesley's advancing central pressure. Wesley develops bb2, sliding the bishop onto the long diagonal, loading quiet but deadly pressure toward Gregory's vulnerable kingside structure. Gregory plays k6, marching his king dangerously forward, seeking counterplay in the open field, despite Wesley's looming coordinated threats. Wesley jumps and cone, rerouting the knight toward deadlier posts, preparing future infiltration as his pieces tighten their encircling grip. Gregory responds k7, retreating under pressure, trying to regroup defensively as Wesley's expanding activity steadily suffocates his position. Wesley advances a3, gaining space on the queen side while probing weaknesses, setting subtle traps that force Gregory into constant recalculation. Gregory repeats k6, shifting his king restlessly in search of safety, though every step invites new dangers from Wesley's active army. Wesley maneuvers net2, centralizing the knight and preparing tactical blows, further tightening the strategic vice around Gregory's unsteady defenses. Gregory plays bx2, eliminating the knight to ease pressure, though the capture opens new lines for Wesley's king to invade boldly. Wesley recaptures kx2, bringing his king aggressively into the center, turning it into a powerful attacking piece steering the endgame battle. Gregory answers k7, pulling back once more, trying desperately to find shelter as Wesley's centralized king looms threateningly closer. Wesley steps kd3, marching forward with conviction, using king activity to dominate central squares and prepare the decisive breakthrough ahead. Gregory replies kx, returning to the battlefield center, though his wandering king remains exposed to Wesley's tightening positional pressure. Wesley places bd4, anchoring a dominant bishop that slices through the board, challenging Gregory's king and controlling critical escape routes. Gregory counters n8, retreating the knight defensively, hoping to regroup pieces before Wesley's expanding control completely seals the position. Wesley advances k4, pushing his king boldly into the heart of battle, converting activity into decisive threats against Gregory's fragile setup. Gregory plays n6, attempting to block central lanes and resist collapsing, though Wesley's king and bishop continue dictating the fight. Wesley pushes h4, expanding on the king's side and preparing zugzwang patterns, squeezing Gregory's pieces into a shrinking defensive cage. Gregory answers n8, pulling the knight back under pressure, but the retreat only highlights Wesley's overwhelming strategic domination. Wesley captures bx6, slicing down the queen side and removing a crucial defender, leaving Gregory's king nearly defenseless in the open. Gregory recaptures kxb6, taking the bishop but exposing his king fatally, as Wesley's advantages converge irresistibly toward the final victory. The video ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you again, everyone. See you in the next video.